Hey everyone, it's another Monday. Today's August 19th and it's time for chatting with Agnes and Cecilia. Today's topic, the RFP process. We're going to share some tips and suggestions to help your RFP process go more smoothly. As always, chatting with Agnes and Cecilia is brought to you by Rogue Tulips, 501c Consulting and Association Management Services. Check us out at roguetulips.com. We are a proud supporter of the 501c League, which is a virtual membership organization for everyone in the 501c community and the people who love them. Check out the league at the 501cleague.net. So here we are. It's another hot August day as we are heading toward the last few weeks of summer. I am Cecilia Sepp. I'm the principal and founder of Rogue Tulips, and I'm here with my co-host and friend, Agnes. Agnes, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone, particularly our global audience, whatever side of the world that you're in, and good afternoon. I am Agnes Amos Coleman. I'm an author and a consultant with Rogue Tulip. Over to you, Cecilia.
Great. Thanks, Agnes. So today, Agnes and I wanted to talk a little bit about the RFP process. And one of the things that inspired this is it seems to be RFP season this month. People are heading into the end of the year and they're trying to get ideas for their budget for the next year, or they're just trying to get some projects lined up before the year closes out. So we've been responding to a lot of RFPs and writing some proposals. Fingers crossed we'll get some. But the RFP process is a very important one, which is why we went to share some tips and suggestions, like we said. Because the purpose of the RFP process, which for our global audience, in case you call it something else, RFP is an acronym for Request for Proposal, which means you write up your project, what you're looking for, and you send it out to the people you think might qualify to do your work, and then they respond to your RFP, and you thus then get a proposal. There's another process we're going to talk about a little bit too, the RFQ, which is a request for qualifications, which is a little different from an RFP, but can probably be more helpful in a lot of instances, especially when it comes to time management and resource management. So when it comes to sending out an RFP or an RFQ, what you're trying to find is a group of consultants that you can talk to find the best fit for your project and your organization. And today we have a special guest star, Tazz. Say hello. Okay. Tazz is in charge of security here at Rogue.
That's right.
So when it comes to the RFP process, what you want to do is you want to identify a group of consultants that might be a good fit for your organization, because fit's really important, and that's why you do an RFP. There's a lot of different things that go into it. You want to find a good fit, you want to find a proposal that fits your budget, and then you want to make sure that people can do the work for you within the specified period of time. Am I missing anything, Agnes?
No, I think you're capturing all the main key areas. And one thing that we mustn't lose sight of is the reason for the RFP itself. And I think you've mentioned that, but I think it's worth reinforcing, which is to achieve the desired outcome for the organization. And you've mentioned it, but I think we just need to emphasize on it.
I agree. That is really the whole point of it. Exactly. I'm glad you said that again, because that is really the point, is to support the mission of the organization and to get the desired outcome. And so this is really a stepping stone to finding the right fit. So here at Rogue Tulips, we always say to people who graciously invite us to submit a proposal that it's the beginning of a conversation. It's not an agreement. We will include the information they asked for, like our suggested process, our proposed budget, the team that we think would do the best work for them from the Rogue Tulips Network. But we also emphasize the fact it's a starting point for a conversation. It is not the final project. It's not the final scope of work necessarily. It's not the final schedule. And it's a way for you to learn a little bit about the consultant sending you the proposal, so that you can decide if you want to talk to them some more. So when you're writing your RFP, try to keep your RFP, this is a suggestion, try to keep your RFP short. Try to keep it 5 pages or less. No, that doesn't count a cover if you put a cover page on it, but the heart of it. So you basically want to put in some information about your organization, the kind of project that you're looking for, if you have any background on if you've done this project before, like strategic planning projects or membership surveys. Sometimes people have done them before, so you might want to mention that. Well, the last time we did this was 3 or 4 years ago. And then a lot of people don't want to talk about their budget, but you can actually get a better proposal if you're willing to share what your budget is. And the reason that is because if you only have a $30,000 budget and you don't mention that in your RFP, you're going to get a whole different level of submissions. You're going to get some people saying they can do it for 10,000. You're going to get some people saying they want 75. So you're going to have wasted some of your time because you're going to be looking at proposals that don't fit your budget. So if you can, if you feel comfortable, put your budget number in there. We've answered a couple of RFPs just in the last month or so where they did put in the budget, and it made it much easier to create a proposal. Now, does that mean that's going to be the final budget? No, the budget might go down after we talk to the client. It might go up because they decide, hey, we like you so much, we're going to give you more work. So there's that. So am I missing anything on that part?
No, I think you're doing a good job, Cecilia. You're pretty much capturing some of the essence of what an RFP should focus on. And
thank you. And then be clear about the deadlines, when you want the proposals turned in, especially if there's a time. And of course, we have also, what is going on? Okay, sorry guys. You have to, come on, let's go. All right. So you never know what's going to happen when we're recording and you have 2 little dogs in the house. So sorry about that. I need to send out an RFP for dog sitters, I think. But anyway, they add a fun element to everything. So that's really kind of the basic stuff you want in your RFP. And when you're writing your RFP, what you want to get is an understanding of how people would take an approach to a project. Basically, you don't need to ask them for their DNA. Now, what do we mean by that? You don't need to ask them for work samples right off the bat. You don't need to ask for references right off the bat. Those are things you ask for later on in the process. Like if you decide you want to talk to the people and you decide, hey, I think I might want to work with this consultant, that's when you start saying, hey, do you have a work sample? Do you have references we could talk to so they could talk about things like, how well they liked working with you and did you stay on target with the schedule and the budget? So that's later on in the process. It's a lot like interviewing people for employment. You don't ask for all that stuff up front necessarily. Then you have the conversation, and then you move it forward, and you see if they need to talk to other people. You see if they need, if you do want some more information. Things you should not ask for in your RFP are things that would be billable work, like asking for things like, write out your entire strategic framework that you would suggest to us. That's billable work. You should probably step back from that. Other things you shouldn't ask for is samples of other clients' work, because that's treated confidentiality by professional consultants, and your work's gonna be treated with that same level of confidentiality. So you don't want that confidentiality breached. If you want a writing sample or a report sample, there's a lot of other kinds of samples you can ask for, but you really should take a step back from asking for client work samples. And that's because, again, it's confidential. They paid for that work, and so we treat it confidentially, and we would treat your work the same way. So don't ask for those sorts of things. Ask for writing samples. Look online, look in their LinkedIn articles, and because really what you want to know is, can these people put a sentence together and make an idea understandable? And so that's what you're looking for. So ask for different kinds of samples. The other thing that we want to talk about is the RFQ process. And that's a process that several years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I have a distraction at the door, folks. Here we go. Sorry about that. But that was becoming a distraction. Several years ago at ASAE, a group of people got together and they created what they call the request for qualifications process, which is an alternative or even a first step in an RFP process. So what the RFQ process is your organization writes a series of 7 to 10 questions related to the type of project you're going to do. And then based on the responses you get to those questions, then you talk to the different consultants and say, hey, I kind of liked what you said here. Let's talk some more. And then you go in deeper. And the RFQ process can be a standalone process, or it can be step one into doing the formal RFP. So for example, you could do an RFQ first and write 7 questions, and the people that you like their responses, you then send them your RFP and say, well, we liked your RFQ, take a shot at our proposal. So you can use it in different ways. I don't know if you've ever been part of an RFQ, Agnes.
No, I haven't. But one of the things that kind of struck me from a lot of what you've been talking about with this process, it's, the opportunity to have a conversation. I think it's the foundation, really. You determine what your organization really, the outcome that you want your organization to get out of this RFP process. And then the key foundation is, how do you then dialogue? How do you have a conversation around all these other elements that are very important to making this successful? And for me, I think in listening to you, that's one of the things that accord with me. And I think as 501c community and leaders who are involved in this process, we must have it at the back of our minds that let's have a conversation. Regardless of whether we put the RFP together, I think it just presents another opportunity to talk through the process. And if you have good consultants, they want to talk. They want to listen to you. They want to hear how your organization is going to fare well out of this. Because remember, consultants are there as your partners to help you achieve your desired goals.
Exactly. Well said. And that's really the thing. People say, other consultants say, I don't respond to RFPs anymore. Because they don't feel that they are that true gateway to a conversation. And some of them are onerous. I mean, some people want a lot of stuff and you have to go through and make sure, have I done these 12 or 15 things they're asking for? And that's why there's a lot of consultants out there that just won't. And there are some consultants, I'm just going to put this out this world because we all need to know this and keep this in mind. I have talked to some consultants who said they've put a lot of time and effort into proposals, and they've written maybe a 20, 30-page proposal, only to find out not only did they not get hired, but then that potential client took that work and implemented it themselves. And so people, that's never happened to me, thank goodness. But I have heard other people say it's happened to them. And hey, folks, we just know that it's not right. You just shouldn't judge people. So in summary, as we're kind of getting to the end of our 15 minutes episode this week, keep in mind you don't want your RFP process to be onerous on either end. It shouldn't take you a terribly long time to write one. And when you get those proposals back in, you want them to be easy to assess and easy to compare to each other. So keep that in mind as well. Keep in mind the proposal is the doorway to a conversation. You're not going to make that decision based on reading the proposal. You're going to decide who else you want to talk to. So keep that in mind. You want to reduce the amount of time you're investing in the RFPs so that you can focus your time on reviewing your proposals and finding people to send your RFP to. So let's all work together. Like Agnes said, we're all here to help each other. We're here to support you as consultants. And we want to work with you. We want to talk to you. So talk to us and let us walk through what your needs are. And then maybe we can come up with a proposal for you that you like that clicks. Because a lot of it is something I read the book Likeonomics years ago. And so you're going to click with people. And you're not going to click with somebody simply because they sent you a 20-page proposal. You're going to click with them when you have that conversation.
That's good.
So you want to look for philosophy. You want to look for approach. You want to look for the fact that the person submitting the proposal can take an idea and explain it to you clearly. So don't make too much work for yourself on the RFP end, and don't make too much work on the consultant end responding to your RFP, because you'll get better responses, you'll get better proposals from people that understand you're taking a serious approach and you're trying to meet different people that could fulfill your needs. Any closing thoughts on that, Agnes?
And just a reminder that we as consultants, or good consultants, should have your best interest at heart. The best interest of your organization, the best interest of the partnership, You know, so we all have a lot of skin in the game, as they say, and remember that as 501c community or our global community when you're working with consultants, when you're trying to build a successful RFP proposal together.
Well said, and a great conclusion to this week's episode. So just keep your RFP process focused on what your needs are and finding that person, like Agnes said, to work together. So, and as we say every week, take 15 minutes and talk to somebody because you might learn something. So that's all from our end here at Rogue Tulips. Agnes, would you like to say farewell?
Well, it's a pleasure being here again today, and thank you to our global audience. We look forward to connecting with you next week.
Great.
Thank you, Cecilia.
Thank you. Thanks, Agnes. Bye, everyone.